Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to July here at Laurel Park.
hmm
I am Callie Frenzel alongside Keith Fusel, Morning Line Odds Maker. And how was your week, Keith?
It's been good. A few
Yeah,
days off. Enjoyed the weather. The weather's been pretty good. We had a little bit of rain up at my place, but good to be back. I tell you, these racing cards have been a challenge
they have.
day in and day out. The prices galore. I look back, because with these 3 day weeks, you kind of gotta you forget sometimes what happened. But man,
Right.
early pick five when we ended this Sunday, 11,000. Late pick five, 7,800. So
hmm
they're there, as some big opportunities on these racing cards, and I'm looking forward to another good weekend. 4 days. We got to remember July 4th.
Yep.
We will be racing. So yeah, how about you? You're
Yeah,
set. You're ready to go.
set and ready to go.
Okay.
Here we go, and let's kick off into just taking a look at the track
hmm
today. Rode very, very nicely this morning, and they're just kind of getting everything prepped up for a long later today. It was a bit balmy right away in the morning, but summer's here. This is July.
Yeah.
This is July weather, and so no, everything track rode great, if absolutely fantastic this morning. A little bit of a breeze, which I like for today.
Yeah. I know there's maybe a hint of maybe some afternoon showers,
Right,
maybe lurking. But yeah, you're talking about.
lurking.
We've had a really good stretch of weather here at Laurel Park. We're lucky. We're staying on the turf fields. We're staying big, bountiful.
It's a good,
So yeah,
it's a good handicapping day today.
it is.
It
It
is.
is.
It really
Okay.
is. So let's get into it. Let's get in. Let's start off with our mile and 16th,
hmm
claiming 5, which have never won 4 since January 1st on our dirt track. And I start off with the number 4, Simber Shenanigan. I think she's this is a consistent filly. I love her. This is the filly with the most late experience in the field as of late. So again, I think this distance this is her distance here today. This 2 turns. I think she's gonna love it.
I think the one thing you can say about her is she's consistent of this field. It's just short of field of 6. She kind of knocks on the door. She does a
Yep.
lot of chasing. We've got chasers in here. So I go to the inside. Arbutus, to me, I think is the
Sure.
speed of the speed. The last time she won was at a mile and a 16th at this distance over this racetrack. I thought she held pretty well in the most recent try behind Miss Marino. They went pretty quick early in that mile test. You look at the internals, 24, 147, and 4. She stayed on. I expect William Humphrey with the bug. Just go ahead and set. Let's go ahead and clear. I think if she clears and
Exactly.
relaxes, she will take this field a long way. Some definite question marks with the form of Hello Rosie Say, a barn change,
Yep.
Ravenel stretching out.
Right.
A little price, and I think value will hold with Arbutus.
I think and I do like that. I have a couple of the same viewpoints with the Tim Ficken. After short, very very short sampling, but has done well third after the layoff. That was a tough asking, going that mile and 1/8 first time out, and I think William got some really really nice run out of the filly, and I see it the same way. She has that. We have that inside post with her. Get up and go on with it. Race number 2, starter
Okay.
optional for 30, 5.5 on the turf today.
Yeah.
But we have your early pick 4, Keith. So
Yeah,
let's dig into it.
and look, here we go. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, all over the map here in the fourth. I think this is a wide open affair. Dare to try as the closer. I'm going to use as a price in there. Polished Gal, I think might be a slight favorite when it's all said and done, but I could see a host of these getting to the winner's circle. So 5 deep there. Race 3 with a 1, 6, and 7. Your price from the rail, Dolce Chiara, maybe to rally into it. Race 4, we go 2 deep. We've got 2-year-olds, firsters, lots of ways to go. Really unproven. The only proven form really is Country Charlie.
Right.
Smart and Fast making the drop off the debut, but I go 2 and 7 in there. Brittany Russell's firster. We'll talk about a little return of some rider that we've seen around here. And in race 5 with the 4 and 6 Acadian Girl, going to be a very short price in race 5, but betcha by golly, a little bit of a value play there. Total cost 30.
With Betcha by Golly, we'll get into that. Just looking at that replay, I like that pick that you have with this filly. But this field is a bit wide open, and
Okay.
I don't blame you at all for going in wide on that ticket. Especially, we both have I Love You underneath, but we both have Polished Gal on top. Now, Polished Gal for Hugh McMahon coming on. I'm comparing to the break that she did have last year. She got tired. She's behind the first flight out last time out. You could see visually that she did just get a little bit tired and finished well enough behind those 2 strong Merriman finishers. Now Merriman off of the layoff has been coming in strong. So for Polished Gal to finish nicely behind those couple of horses, that's why I have her on top.
Yeah, I think she just catches the right field at the right time. Maybe if I Love You had another race under her belt, and maybe even a little bit longer distance, I could go
Right.
there. She really did well over a course that had a little bit of give to it prior to the layoff. So let's see what she can do
Right.
on a firmer course, but she'll make a run from the back. But you're right, Polish Gal, Whispering Kitten, Epic Idea, Ella Nation, much better
Big
horses.
time. Big time.
She got position, just not enough kick, but right off of the, she won second off the break last year.
Get-
I think she stalks and moves into it here. She's not going to be a great big price, but I think I can trust her. Dare to try another one. She has a good run. We've got a video going back on her. This is going to be her toughest test to date, though, on the turf course. This is a condition field that she's beating, and once again, we see this time and time again. It gets redundant. Forest Boyce with a good ride on the turf, patient, being able to handle some little issues, and then finishing up. Really, I mean, nobody really does it better, right? Working out trips on the turf on this turf course at Laurel Park and at Pimlico. So I think Dare to Try, step up, but man, Patrick Noosh off of these breaks. He gets
Yes.
horses ready to run, and they always look good coming into the paddock. Does a nice job with a smaller sampling.
Big time. Off of that small sampling, first time off of the layoff. Last 8, first time off of the layoff. 3 wins, 2 seconds. That's 38 win percentage first after layoff for Patrick Noosh. And agreed with Forrest. She just tried to see if she could make that rail trip happen, and she didn't.
Yep.
And she hadn't. Then she had enough room
Yeah.
to carry this
Yep.
horse on, and he did the job. I like it. The only question is dipping up doing a starter optional right away when she was going for the claiming numbers of 3. So again, I agree with you. I have her underneath,
Okay.
as do you, which is why. But I do think we're going to get to see her. I like her at 6-1 coming into this.
What about House Wrecker? Turf
House
debut
Wrecker.
for Farrier. What do you think? I'm going to use this horse, no doubt, in my exactas and my pick in the pick 4, pick 3s, you name it.
Sure.
I got some breeding notes. I mean, the mare broke her maiden sprinting on the turf with a good number. Has a full sister, 5 for 18 on the turf. Be it a little bit longer, but I like the way she's kind of sitting and making moves into honest paces on the dirt. If it transitions at all to this turf course, she's going to be a player from just off of it.
Absolutely, just based off of that style alone. And they're back to a previous intention. They entered this filly early May on a turf event. It was so they ran her going off of the turf, and that's to me that says a lot in itself because Farrier doesn't run a lot on the turf.
No.
He's been doing it lately. Now he's starting to experiment and get out and branch out a little bit more as far as being on the turf. I like Arnaldo for going short on the turf. Outside, she has an outside post for her style. All of it works, and really, I'm looking at how does this filly move on the dirt and how that's going to transfer over to the turf because sometimes you can really see how that it transpires. And while I don't think switching over to the grass is going to change her life, I think how she moves, it's definitely worth the
Yep.
experiment to try her on the turf,
Okay.
especially with the breeding that you pointed out.
Yep. And let's see, taking a break. Look at the speed of this race.
Yep.
Always something. Good form. As good a form as she's been on the dirt. Can she carry the speed on the turf? One time you go on the go back, didn't have it. Shaka Boom there lurking with Rodolfo Sanchez Salaman.
Yes.
First off the claim, outside speed might take him a long way. So I do think race 2 is a spread. Maybe Polish Gal is the most proven. Run against the kind of better fillies and mares. Still not completely sold. That's why we got a spread.
That's why we have some great exotics
Yep.
underneath. That's great. Race number 3, claiming 10 for fillies and mares 3 years old and up, which have never won 7 furlongs on the dirt. I love how we're taking back to the 7 furlongs. And I've got Targe coming in for the Farrier barn. I like that they're keeping Latchman on. They're bringing Latchman over from Charlestown over here to ride her over here at Laurel, but it's a key thing is that it's a significant enough drop. Is able to battle duel early, which she's going to get from a couple of horses in this field. But what I like is that she's been able to handle that type of pressure earlier, and her only chance is to go early. Coming from Charlestown, her gate speed does work in this field today, and so again, I'm really keying in that Latchman has been able to get some run out of this filly, and that's what I'm capitalizing on today with Charge.
Yeah, I think she'll sit that trip just outside and maybe off the pace of Miss Old Bay. Miss Old Bay is fast. She was against the grain of the racetrack when a beaten favorite last time. A little bit of drop. She's got that 76 and 73 on her page.
Yep.
She's had breaks. She gets another race right back, maybe. Because when she runs, she kind of runs off the screen type where she can run that big number. Again, protecting here, Targe to maybe just prompt the issue. Dolce Carrera, if she's going to do anything, I think it's going to be today. The future, maybe certainly off the last couple, doesn't look bright.
Right.
But turning him back in distance, the drop, we've got the bug. sit, settle, rally into it. I think she's got the kind of closing kick sprinting that would work against this group. So there's a little bit of price. 12-1 morning line might come down a little bit with the scratch of the 3 golden account.
And that's where I see her. That's why I have her in my exact. I think there's been a lot of overambitious moves since the win until now in 2022. So the only thing against her is that she is the lead type and slightly worried about that inside post. But I think Jan will be able to get this filly out as she did win in her winning style. So she's just back with she's just back with nicer friends. Race number 4, excuse me, maiden claiming 45. We touched into this, but before we dig into that, I have a pick 6 ticket that I want to dole out. And so in this, you go 2 deep, I go 3 deep. I go the 2, the 4, and the 7. Race number 5. I'm going to get through this ticket as quick as I can. Race number 5, the 1, the 4, and the 5. Race number 6 is my best bet. He's the number 2 hard traveler on going along on the turf today. And race number 7 and 8, that's where I go wide with 1, the 2, the 3, and the 6. Race number 8 with the 1, the 2, the 4, the 6, and the ace. And the 8, excuse me, race number 9 is when I just double down, take it down a little notch for the 2 and the 9 for a $72 ticket to get you going for today. And
wow.
So, yeah.
72. Thank God it's Friday, right?
Did.
Maybe
we
got paid.
Hey.
I'm done. That's like 90% of my check. It's over with now. I'm gonna have to go borrow some money to get through the rest of the week.
Hey, we had the discussion though first thing on that this is a handicapping day, so
yes.
I gave you a handicapping ticket.
Okay.
Take it whichever way you want to. So I start off with
it.
I start off, and we talked about this earlier. Country Charlie for Anthony Ferrier. Boca Chica is back in town. This is a typical farrier move. This is actually a farrier move that I love. Is running these horses. Running these horses a little bit early. I thought this horse was at Charlestown previously. I love how this horse has run a race at this distance, that 5 furlong distance, jumping it up from that maiden 25. Gave this one some time, a little bit of time in between. But I like the 3-week break jumping off. I like that break in between the first and the second race, and then we're back in action 3 weeks later.
Yeah, I like the fact that the 4th place finisher did jump up and ran an improved number, probably 15, almost 20 buyer points. That was a first or maybe a Nollisville second time out. Took play here, though, in that race with Country Charlie. The blinkers went on. The speed was there off of that useful debut. Got off a little bit sluggish in debut, but the blinkers certainly brought focus. Experience will definitely help the chances of the 7 Country Charlie. We've got a slew of firsters in here, but let's target Heldish, the 2-horse, Brittany Russell. She has, with the last 6 months with firsters, 8 for 23. 35%. Now, I saw Brittany, I think it was Sunday, just kind of like that look, a little bit of deer in the headlights. Just like, man, what's going on? A little bit of snake bit, a little unlucky. And it happens with training. She's had a phenomenal run.
Yes.
The ship will get righted. Sheldon Russell is back.
Sheldon Russell's the captain to steer that ship back. And
yes.
So now, enough of the pressure on Brittany. Now the pressure is on Sheldon for his first time back now. But I like this first-time starter. The mare did take 3 starts to get a win. But what I love is that the 5 furlong work on June 19th made me perk up a little bit on this filly. And just going back, looking at this filly, they always are turned out well. Listen, these horses are always schooled well, and I think that's a big thing with these first-time starters here in the Mid-Atlantic, getting them ready for that first-time start. And again, you gave the stat. I mean, the stats, positive stats galore. Great Notion, Street Sense. Those are nice ones coming out, turning out some nice progeny with that 15% with Great Notion and 13% with Street Sense, that first-time starter.
Yeah, and you got the 5-horse. Hammy reaches out and goes get Toledo, one of our leading riders, year in and year out, always right there. Might sneak away a little bit of a price by Outflanker, about 11%. Boy, Outflanker's been around a long time. Miss Ballistic, we remember her, a 2-year-old champ here in Maryland years back. So let's see what Ballistic brings to the table in the 4. Box in Ben. Cal Lynch trained the Sib. The Sib broke its maiden in an off-the-turf race, but with speed. Expect some speeder. Bandbox. The Stallion 18% with the first-time starters, and Cal's been tough all the time, year in, year out with these 2-year-old horses. Yeah, lots of ways to go. I mean, you hope the Russell horse is ready to roll, but you can't single anybody in the 4th.
This is a bunch of this is a field with a bunch of firsters. There's no way
Mm-mm.
anybody should be singling it
That's tough.
on this field at all, and especially with that box and Ben. The dam was a Ben's girl for one first time out. So there you go.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
just nice and very nice and flashy. Race number 5, that starter allowance, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. We've got a video spotlight on your top pick, Keith. Betcha by golly. Let's bring that up. There we go. And Keith, take it away.
Yeah, Georgia Andriadakis claimed this runner 4 races back. A try long on the turf. No good. A little falter. But you know what? Then the barn went to tweaking some things. And I saw Georgia before this horse ran the last time, June 19th, on the turf. She's like, not really maybe the spot that I wanted, but, we kind of worked the schedule in. This is how we're going to do it. I said, you know what? You did a great job getting this filly to sit and finish the race 2 races back right here. Sat chilly. Humphrey got through. Now, was it the mud? Maybe, maybe not. But I tell you, there is a slew of speed signed on in race 5. I think Betcha by Golly is just an improving type of filly right now. You're going to have an awful short price with a Acadian girl. Yeah, she's the horse to beat. But there's some value. Betcha by Golly to sit chilly, drop in. They're all going to run away from her, I believe, early. And just bring that finish like she did on the mud 2 races back.
I remember when this filly was in Tim Keefe's barn, and she was just labeled as a turf filly, but that that performance 2 starts back, and you really bring it up with some of these horses that are need the lead types. If you take them back and you give them a chance to breathe, regroup, recalibrate, then they give a performance like they do back on. Again, it could have been the mud, it could have not been the mud, but I'm going to attune to it a little bit more that, hey, I like that move, taking them back and just letting these fillies relax. And I mean, as far as that last time out, that wasn't a disrespectful go. It wasn't. I mean, personally, I wasn't a fan of the ride. It moved way too early going into that second wire on the turf. I think Barbosa just got a little hot in his head, and it happens. It happens with any rider. So I do hope I see this filly back on the turf again. But hey, why not? Why not today? Absolutely.
Yeah, and going back to the 2-back race, it's turned out to be a key race. 3 of those horses have come back and run really big, improved numbers. So I like that. Got to talk about Acadian Girl real quick for Mark Lapidus and Mike Girales.
Of course.
Man, this horse has made a lot of money, done very well since being claimed back all the way in November of 20. Now, she's been good with these kind of more comfortable flows, going longer, the mile and a 16th. She can sit, relax, and go.
Right.
7/8 against this group, it should be okay. But a couple of these horses have a little speed. Blue Sky Venezuela, even Eloquent Lady Sharp right now. They don't have that complete give up. I want to see what she can do once she makes the move, maybe past the 3/8. Can she just keep on going? She might just be that sharp and overwhelm this field with the form she's in right now. But I think she's a little susceptible here at a price.
I could see that. I mean, I could definitely see that with the way this first half of the race is going to be playing out. But, however, this filly has been – I've seen this filly get a little tactical, so I do have some faith in that for her to be able to kind of take a little bit of that sheep speed in front and just kind of bounce off of that. So I could see – which is why I still kept her on top. I could see how you want to try and, beat this girl for a price, and I understand that. But I'm going to keep going with a little bit with that faith in her. So before we get into race 6, we have a little commercial for you.
All right.
It's just the horses themselves. It's nothing better than being on a thoroughbred. Gallop race horses, I shoe horses, so that's what I do all day. Just being with the horse. It's a lot better than being with people.
Was Barry Duncan for Hugh McMahon. What an excellent horseman. So I'm glad Naomi Tucker was able to get that spot on him. But let's dig into race number 6, our maiden special weight, 8.5 on the turf, which is where we're going to do a quick video spotlight on my best bet of the day, Hard Traveler. Now, this horse, we're looking back. This is the 2022 debut off of a winter break that this horse had. This is Preakness Day, sitting in a beautiful spot. And we can see here that Forrest starts to ask a little bit. Didn't quite get the spot, it pushes through the spot actually, but doesn't have quite enough, gets out, gets in a little bit of trouble, but then was able to, as those 2 horses were able to carry on, she then got the horse into a nice position, and as you can see in this last 100 yards or so, then he starts to, once he gets clear, he starts to make a nice go of it. This horse had a rough trip back up at Aqueduct last fall, then came up nicely behind Airspeed Velocity, who just tried the tail of the cat stakes at just didn't quite get the room in that last trip out a little bit. I think this is a very talented horse. I'm a huge fan of this horse, and seeing him so I got to hop on him in his 2021 fall campaign, and he had a little bit of mental growing to do.
Okay.
And seeing him in the mornings and talking to his exercise rider, this horse has grown mentally, and I think
Okay.
that really transferred that last time out. So I love the barn isn't strong second after the lap, but I don't see this happening for this guy. I think he's gonna, and especially with those works coming in, I think he's gonna roll in hot today.
Second time gelding, second time Lasix, second off of a break, closed up. Right behind Evan Harlan was a short price. That was a motion runner, going to catch a motion, favored again today
Sure.
off of a break in Pika. But Airspeed Velocity was able to kind of control things up front. Dug in gamely. Evan Harlan, though, had strong numbers coming in from Florida. That was a good field, a good turf return, I should say, for Hard Traveler. And should sit another great trip, save ground most of the way, as Forrest will do. But Pika, I think he might be the speed of the speed in here. Fresh off of a break, returns first time gelding, returns first time Lasix, out of a pretty strong field at Saratoga in August. The
Yes.
winner dripping goal was 3-1 in a Grade 1 next out up at Woodbine. The Fool is mainly done, its best sprinting on the turf. This turf debut going long at 2 is good. Number works for me. I think Pika with Virgil Lynch should be able to control things up front.
Yeah, and I mean, even going back to that Saratoga run, I was
Or
just
close
taking,
to it.
I was taking a look at it. He was tucked in behind. I thought he ran slightly green going down the lane and got the better once he was next to the other horse. I imagine whether this horse goes on the lead or he's tucked in, I think this is another case of this is another Hard Traveler case. This is a horse that probably has mentally up leveled a little bit since that first time out at Saratoga. And the thing that caught my attention, the first thing that caught my attention, is that this gelding did well for a Grand Motion first timer, which isn't Grand Motion's strength. So, and I love they tried to enter this horse twice before coming back here. Tried at Delaware, was on the turf 16th of June. So there's a lot. Listen, there's a lot that's going in for this horse. I understand why he's a 7-5 favorite.
Yeah, and looking at motion, this is his game. 3-year-olds, when they're off of those breaks, plus 180 days, they're about on the turf. 4 for 16 over the last 3 years, 8 for 16 in the money with an ROI of 588. You're not going to get a big price, but I think you're going to get a good effort from Pika. Do you have any upsetters? I think Deceiving ran sneaky good, caught wide. Will need to save a little bit more ground to save as much punch to bring it in because Key's up against the right kind. Ran against Ripken. Ripken ran well the other day.
Yes.
Another horse out of there, the Sibeli horse, General's Duty.
Yep.
That horse came out of the Airspeed Velocity race and ran respectable. He's not far off. If you're looking for that blow-up type, Deceiving might be the one.
Well, I've also, for a price, the toner horse, Siege of Boston, the number 9. We've got Warfront, who's 20% with his second time routing. Sellerswell's 12% industry average. But what I note, if you go back to that first time over at Indiana, this is a new James Toner trainee, so which is what I do like, because then he has a little bit more, he can place them right. And this horse wasn't able to get away. Especially Victor's style too, I just see this horse being placed a little bit more forwardly. And if you see that, then you go back to that first try. Granted, that was at 7.5, but I think the horse will appreciate the 2 turns as well. As I think this horse is going to get placed a lot better and have a little bit more luck than the previous 2 starts.
Sharper works coming in.
Yep.
The debut was good. Creative Miracle came back to win. This horse, again, might be more forward. And like you talk about, Victor getting into striking position sooner, giving this horse a better chance to victory.
Right, and that's exactly it. That 3 furlong work out of the gate, that's busted. That's trying to get these boys, especially with boys, you want to get them in that sharp mind before they're going in for that first race, and that's exactly what Jimmy Toner did. Race number 7, claiming 25 for 3-year-olds and up, which is number 1, 2, 5.5. We've got a stat later on that you're going to tell us about, but I'm just going to quick touch on Rockin' Hippie Chick. She's been running in the numbers and has been consistent, so she just needs the right kind of rail trip. She hasn't had the best luck with her rail trips as of late. In the win, she had a wide open rail, didn't really get a little bit of that, especially in that last start, but last time out she was stumbled, she was rushed, and nothing opened up, but she kept on that rail, and no horse is brave enough to go in that tightest spot that tried to go in on first asking.
Yeah, I think she's going to end up with another good position towards the inside with a good break. There's a little quicker horse inside of her, and she's Mo Better. that I think will go ahead and go. Cal Lynch, this is going to be third off of a break. He's 29% with his sprinters the last few years, third off a break, 14 of 21 as well in the money. I go to the outside with the 6, Appalachian Heights.
Sure.
First off the claim, Farrier, we've seen this move, bringing horses in from Kentucky off the claim and just moving right up the ranks. This one no different. Has enough speed to stay close. You got a speed rider in Boca Chica. Has a strong race. It came out of Triple Key on the 27th down at Churchill Downs. I think we'll go up and try to attend the pace of She's Mo Better. Maybe even Morning Cocktail will show some speed, but I think gets it done at a shorter price.
Definitely. It's a nice that they claim this horse from Churchill, but she'll still have to step it up a little bit. But this is, as you noted, this is exactly what Anthony Farrier does, and that's what he's good at. So I absolutely can understand that. Set him up. I'm just trying to. I know he's going to go in at a short price, so I'm just trying to beat him a little bit. Most comfortable. What I noticed in her replays, she's most comfortable where she sat in a nice pocket. She has a little bit more of a slow burn turn of foot than you would think. So I could see her potentially, and with that, you can even rush her up a little bit if you wanted to, and she still would make that happen. So there's, as you mentioned, plenty of speed for her to chill out in, and she has that outside post. That could be a winning combination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, 6-3-2-4. I'm not in love with the race. I will tell you that. I think it's a tricky little race.
It is
Even
a tricky
Shine Like
little
a
race.
Diamond. I think it's Camellia Road had every reason to kind of go past last time.
Right.
Had a great dual setup, just couldn't quite get through. But 7th is to me a little wide open. I'm just hoping that this off the claim edge for Farrier works this time.
Well, and I do like the one on that inside post, that Tim Keefe filly.
Okay.
She was in her grooving spot. I thought she maxed out at 7 furlongs. I thought she ran well for 7 furlongs, and then we got a little funny. We went for the glam and glitz of running Black Eyed Susan Day. That was a tough spot.
Yeah.
Then what I really was curious about is the mile run at the allowance level. That, I think, knocked this filly's confidence a little bit. I think I've gotten on this filly before. I think she's going to need a race to get that confidence now that she's back in the proper spot, position, class, distance. So I see her underneath. I would definitely put her in your exotics underneath. Race number 8. Let's go on to race number 8 at our allowance. Going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Let's hit up on that video right away on Zadeb, that Graham Motion runner coming in from Kentucky. Had a nice go. I love how this horse went from the turf to the dirt intentionally. This wasn't an off the turf event. This was on the dirt going forward. And when you have a horse like this for Graham, that's a nice one to go. Had the trip. This horse had the nice trip. We're talking about 2 completely different runs and we see 2 completely different horses. So when you take a horse that's coming off of the pace and then you put and zip this horse up, that's exactly, they can tend to show you what they're really all about, and that's exactly what we see here.
Yeah, relaxed outside the pace setter and really brought a finish. A little bit wide up in front with the traveling, but it was very eager through the line. It's a good number of 73 for a 2-year-old, right? 7.5 furlongs, not a distance you see too often. About 7/8, I should say. I thought visually it was pretty good. The number's solid. It works. Motion off time. We talked about it. 2 to 3 works. The only knock that I have for this guy is who he beat, because none of those horses have really come down and come back and done anything spectacular. But you can't fault him for his effort. That's the thing, So there you go. Looks to be a user again in here. I think he's going to take plenty of play.
Sure.
I think Southern Bridge returns Gelding.
Yeah.
Sharp works for Ness. So horse they claim for 16. He's gone through the ranks. I think he's going to be sitting in a chilly spot, somewhere 4 or 5 out of it as they leave the far turn and just kind of maybe try to slingshot to victory, because you've got some speed in Magic Mule, Friar Truck, and very good form of Willow Paps. Pace should be honest. Southern Bridge maybe to circle and get it done. Magic Mule, I've been chasing this guy.
Yeah.
He tries hard every time on the dirt, and I think the flow today is really going to be to his liking. It's going to be, I think, contested to a point, but not blistering, and he's a stayer. He's a stayer here.
Yes, and I mean, I'm looking back at how this horse ran. This horse seems to run well when he gets that kind of 45-day break, and so he's already going to be coming in here enjoying the layoff. We know he runs fresh well off of the layoff. If you look back at that January 21 contest out there, he ran, and that was a nice, just tugging it along, a nice second. I like that this horse has been laying up here at Laurel and training at Laurel. This isn't a horse that's coming from Parks and running here at Laurel. This is a horse that knows its track and is running at the track that he knows at. That's what I really, really like. And then, of course, you have Jamie, who's a solid 21% first after the layoff.
All right.
Race number 9, claiming 16 at 8.5 on the turf. Let's get going with that. Favorite image, you're coming in at 5-2. I love the Sean McDermott horse. I know we do have a video spotlight, but what I like is that this horse ran well enough, but then really sent this horse going, which is where this horse likes to be. This horse is coming from a jump barn. So the McDermott runners on the flat really haven't let me down in the past year as well. Over 50% in the last 31 starts with those turf routes, and that's what I really like. And this horse this horse was on the lead, had horses coming into him, and then kept fighting. And that winner went ahead and run away. You couldn't, and it was on the outside, so he didn't have much of a chance to really catch him visually before he went on with that. But Sean McDermott, he takes these horses over to Pimlico, gets some works on them on the dirt, which I think is just that's something you can't take away. And I really love. I don't believe that he'll bounce. He's just a front running type horse, and I think he might get a bit of a better trip today.
Yeah, I don't know why he was rated 2 races back, but we caught that comment, put it in there. And we kind of begged and pleaded with Gomez last time out to please go ahead and go, and he did. The horse was able to kind of get away with softish fractions on a ground that had some give to it.
Yeah.
But you saw in the video, he was engulfed almost coming past mid-stretch.
Yes.
He just kept running his own race. Nobody was beating Simoy Sunset that day. He came back to win off the claim on the race. It's his race to lose again to the front. I think he gets there, but he's going to have to worry about Super E. Super E comes out of an open claiming race. He's got consistent mid-60 buyers on the turf at a route of ground. I think he'll be in position to strike by the time they hit the 316.
Right. Hammy Smith, he's pretty good. It's a good barn stat for him where he's second off the layoff, nearly hitting 25%, 20% at that lately. The only thing I'm worried about this horse is just potentially bouncing, because the number that he came out was very, very strong, and he hasn't, again, this is first off of the layoff, so either we're seeing a new Super E or we're getting a flashy first time out. I mean, it was a runaway, boats a rockin' runaway winner, couldn't catch him, but it also could have been an indicator that the allowance level was too tough. We're back at a level where this horse is probably fitting at best. So I do like a Super E as your top selection here.
Okay. Yeah, 2-5-5-2. The 9, I think, Damon's horse. Another one. He's second gelding on the turf. A lot of trouble out of that Simoy Sunset race, and just kind of kept grinding, kept churning on. Another one, looking at the lack of flow in this race from that outside post, he might be able to get first run on the speed.
And once he does, he might get pretty deadly at that if they get him going, because he broke a little rank. He thought he was going short again, there was a little bit of a discussion between him and Karamanos going into that first turn, but he eventually settled, and I think we're going to get to see and another interesting one is that number 7, Virginia Fuller. Okay. There were a lot of claim slips in for that horse when Hugh McMahon claimed him. So I think that was the intention from what I was talking to people. Everybody saw this horse as a turf horse, so we get to see what kind of he was meant to do. So, and that's it for all of our races here for today. Let's hit into lightning round.
All right.
Here we go, getting into jock standings. Barbosa still going strong, hitting at 12 wins right now. Toledo not far behind him. And then, of course, we've got Victor, who's been very, very consistent, getting into a lot of his wins on the turf for Trombetta. And then we've got Karamanos and Alvello coming in. But J.R. Barbosa is not backing down on trying to get that title. Maybe we'll see if he can get it this summer, but we'll see.
All right. Now we've got Sheldon back to try to make
Sheldon
his
back.
way
He's starting out
standings.
Exactly.
Yes.
So here we go. Let's see if Sheldon can go 1 for 1 today. But then we've got Claudio Gonzalez. We're back here at Laurel. This is Claudio. We're back at Claudio's grounds. But I love that Damon Deal DeVico is not far behind him. The Deal DeVico team working very, very hard. And the Rudy Sanchez Salmon. Listen, all these guys work super, super hard in the morning. But loving that I'm seeing that Damon and Rudy are right behind Gonzalez, and that should make for interesting as we keep going along this summer. We've got a return today. We've got Sheldon Russell back here in race number 4 on the first-time starter. But as we can see him on his not career-changing horse, because he's a very, very successful jockey anyway, but here back on Hello Beautiful. Listen, he's been out 9 months. I've had a similar injury myself where he wasn't able to put weight on that foot for quite a while, and I've been there, and that's not an easy, that's a long injury to come back to, and the rehab that going into it, he's been on horses for the past couple weeks, he's feeling good, he's solid, so a lot of work going into the rehab of coming in off of that type of injury and layoff, so looking forward to see him getting in back into action today.
Absolutely. Good to see him back. I know some of the outer riders, I thought it's going to take some outs away from some guys, no doubt about it. He's proven year in and year out resilient and is a really competitive guy. I know he was just, so anxious to get back. Let's hope he's fully healthy. Best of luck, Sheldon. I'm sure you're going to rock and roll here early with a couple wins.
He's playing it cool this morning when I
Okay.
was talking to him
All
this
right.
morning.
He is
But I'm
cool.
like,
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he is a
Yeah.
cool guy. So, no, calm, cool, collected. He'll be going just very, very nicely into that first race. He's ready to go. And like I said, that just the rehab of going through that type of injury to get up to here, that's something I really applaud. But let's go back to that first win for Walter Rodriguez that we saw back on Sunday. Did a lot of work from the 3/8 on. He started riding from that 3/8 and made it very, very hard work. I know he's been working for Jose Corrales in the mornings, and this was a Corrales horse that he won on. So it doesn't seem like, looking at the top of the stretch, it doesn't seem like this horse has a lot to offer. But he keeps trying, and slowly but surely is grinding, getting there. That horse came in at 7-1, and I can't remember off the top of my head what country he comes from, but his English is excellent. He came back, and he was very, very happy. And again, working very, very hard in the mornings, and it's coming to fruition.
That was good. Stayed in rhythm. 3/16, got out in a little bit of a clear run, and there you go. There's the normal celebration that you have to endure, right? If you got, I guess you can call it a celebration.
They were pretty nice to him, I thought. They were pretty
You
nice.
got
Oh,
away
wait,
easy?
he's like, yep, just let me take it.
Okay, there you go.
All right, Keith, give us your best bet and your value play day. Let's start with your best bet.
Best bet, real quick, because I know we're running a little short on time. 7th race, going to be Appalachian Heights off the claim for Tony Ferrier. Let's get a little stalk and pounce kind of move there. And the value play comes in race number 5. There you go. Betcha by Golly. Katie and Girl will be in that 4 to 5, maybe 3 to 5 range. Betcha by Golly's kind of been retooled. They've done a good job with that filly in the morning. Let's hope she can kind of save some ground and rally into it. May not win it, but I think is going to still offer good value for you in that 6 to 1, maybe even 8 to 1 range.
Betcha by Golly at 6-1, and I
Okay.
love that value as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this morning's show, and let's have a great day of racing here on Friday at Laurel Park. Thank you.
You got it.